Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. This video is not really a pick video. It's just a rant on the state of a team in the National Basketball Association. Warning, it's a basketball video, not a boxing video. You know, the Los Angeles Lakers have been great to me this season because they're hopelessly overrated. The pieces don't fit. It's clear to me that the master, Jerry Buss, has taken a back seat. He has turned over control of the team to other members of his family, and it's clear that they don't have a clue about basketball chemistry or basketball personnel. Right now, out here on the West Coast, we've been hearing that the Lakers are shopping Paul Gasol. Right? You even have one of their superstars, Kobe Bryant, openly criticizing Paul Gasol to the media. Well, finally, a sane Laker executive, who also happens to be one of the best players in NBA history, has weighed in today with his comments. You need to Google Magic Johnson's comments on Paul Gasol. He is right on the money. Johnson, who clearly, were he the point guard of the Lakers, would be running the offense very differently than it's being run right now, calls Gasol the best passing big man in the NBA. Johnson further in the interview, just Google it, says that the entire offense should run through Paul Gasol, and that the Lakers don't have the personnel right now to play full court basketball. They need to be a half court team. Now, I know to the public, Dwight Howard's dunks and stuff like that is, front page material. But really, if you're heavily into basketball, you're looking at Dwight Howard as a guy without a mid-range jumper who, on his best days, is average from the free throw line. Right? Not only that, he's really an athletic player who now has a bad back history. And so I'm stunned that in a league with very few great big men and with a crowd-pleasing big man who really isn't that great skill-wise. I know it sounds hard, but hey, we're hard here on YouTube, right? I'm surprised that the Lakers would actually entertain even the notion of trading the other big man who just happens to be the better passer, the better back to the basket player, a player who, quite frankly, in the playoffs has D'd up guys like Kevin Garnett, who simply are too athletic for a player who's in the post to guard all over the court, right? Lakers are crazy if they trade Paul Gasol. Let me tell you who they should trade. Whoever right now is their general manager, or whoever is actually making personnel decisions. Because right now, the team is really making moves that are, from a basketball perspective, maybe not from a public relations perspective, but from a basketball perspective, laughable. First, take their treatment of Mike Brown. Let me just say this. If you didn't like Mike, the time to blow him out was in the off season, not a few games into the regular season. Let me also point out that Bernie Bickerstaff then took over the team. Bernie was doing quite well. Bernie actually has been a head coach in the NBA. But oddly enough, Bernie wasn't even considered a candidate for the head coaching job, even though he was successful as the Laker head coach. Right? Then you have Phil Jackson. He's prepared to come in. As Magic has pointed out, as others have pointed out, Phil Jackson's approach, triangle, half-court offense, actually fits the older Laker personnel, right? You got a lot of age on the Lakers. Metta World Peace over 30, Kobe over 30, Steve Nash over 30, Paul Gasol over 30, right? You have a lot of age on the Lakers with key players. But yet, of course, even though Phil Jackson has rings from his success as Laker coach, and even though Phil Jackson was willing to be the Laker coach, the Lakers instead go in a different direction, right? Well, now the chickens have come home to roost. Now the Lakers don't know what to do. Who's their perimeter defender? Please, don't tell me Kobe, who's now in his 30s and who, quite frankly, hasn't been a defensive wizard for years. Please, don't tell me Steve Nash, who easily is one of the worst defensive players in the National Basketball Association. Keep in mind, as loved as Steve Nash was in Dallas years ago, Mark Cuban had to let him go. The numbers just didn't support keeping Steve Nash. Also, look at the Laker bench. It's eviscerated, right? Guys like Troy Murphy, gone. Matt Barnes, gone. The only thing the Lakers have right now is the brand. They don't have the talent or the execution, right? There's even rumblings that Dwight Howard might be interested in playing elsewhere. And guess what? You've only rented Dwight Howard for a year. He could well leave your team. Are you going to let Dwight Howard leave and get nothing in return? If you trade Dwight Howard, will you get back a big man as good as Andrew Bynum was, the big man you let go to get Dwight Howard in that multi-team trade? I would say no. Let me also point out, too, that Andrew Bynum and Paul Gasol worked well together. Right? They were two big men who could actually coexist on the court at the same time. How has the Dwight Howard, Paul Gasol on the court at the same time situation worked out for you? Right, Laker fans? Let me hear from you. I have no idea. I have no clue how you expect to compete with the San Antonio Spurs or the Oklahoma City Thunder. You don't have the personnel to slow down Russell Westbrook. Can we get serious for a moment? Nor do you have the shooting to match San Antonio's shooting. Nor do you have the perimeter defense to slow down San Antonio offensively. Right? This is a blown year by the Lakers. And let me just point out, given that no one's getting any younger, and your center could well just decide he's not going to sign a new contract with the team, this situation could get a whole lot worse, right? Maybe what the Lakers need to do is give Magic Johnson more decision-making authority. Allow him to actually run the team, not have some committee overseeing him, but literally give him the keys to the car, because he cares deeply about the Lakers. And he seems to be the only one in the building who seems to realize that things as they presently are aren't working. Let me hear from you. Thanks for watching.